Hello everyone, in this video we'll talk about WLAN authentication or wireless LAN authentication. So there are two types of authentication which are being supported by WLAN. So the first one is open authentication and the second one is shared authentication. So in open authentication there is no need of adding a passphrase. We can just simply connect to the access point without adding any passphrase, but in the case of shared authentication, passphrase is required and that passphrase should be present both on client side as well as on access point side. So this is the two authentication which are being supported by WLAN. Now let's talk about that what kind of encryption are supported by wireless local area network. So right now if I talk about personal WLAN, so you can see here that for the personal WLAN authentication there are two encryptions which are being used. So the first one is WEP and the second one is WPA and WPA2. So I'm not talking about enterprise WLAN standard, so I'm just talking about WLAN encryption of personal network. So you can see here, now we'll talk about each of them in bit more detail. So first of all we'll talk about WEP encryption. So WEP stands for wired equivalent privacy, and this WEP is no used anymore because it's less secure as well as it's most vulnerable. So you can see here that the WEP encryption uses RC4 algorithm and it's a less secure and it's going to be depreciated. So you can see here that here is our client and here is our access point. So the first of all the client will send authentication request to that access point, and once our access point receives authentication request from the client, then that access point will send a long random text of 128 bit as a challenge to the client. So you can see here that our access point is sending 128 bytes random text as a challenge to the client. So once our client receives that 128 bytes long text, then what our client will do, our client will encrypt that challenge or encrypt that text with the passphrase and by using RC4 algorithm. And once our client generate a long RC4 key streams, after encrypting that challenge, our client will send that challenge or the RC4 key stream to the access point back. So you can see here that our client is sending RC4 key stream to the access point, and once the key stream is accepted by the access point, then what access point will do, the access point will decrypt the key stream with the key which is present inside the access point, and then it matches the challenge which it sends on the second step. And if the challenge is matched, then the authentication is successful and the data transfer between a client and access point begins. So this was in the case of WEP, but we know that most of the security researchers started finding vulnerabilities and the weaknesses in the encryption of WEP. Then what happened is the IEEE committee has introduced another kind of wireless encryptions which are far better than WEP, and that encryption standard was WPA. So WPA stands for Wi-Fi protected access, and WPA uses TKIP, and this WPA was based on WEP, and you can see here that hardware changes are not required. So what happened is at that time our access point used WEP, and if we want our access point and if we want to configure our access point to use WPA, then there is no need of changing the hardware. So this is the main benefit of WPA, and the WPA was also available for personal as well as enterprise. But later on the IEEE committee has introduced another encryption which was the advancement of WPA, and that was WPA2. So WPA2 was also called as Wi-Fi protected access, but instead of using TKIP, WPA2 uses CCMP. But the thing to be noticed is that in order to use WPA, the hardware changes are required. So at that time, if I talk about that time when the people use WEP, so if we want to configure our wireless access point to use WPA, then at that time hardware changes were required. But nowadays our hardware are highly equipped, then there are no changes required. They by default support WPA and WPA2 encryption. So this WPA2 encryption is also available for personal as well as enterprise use. So now we will see that how WPA and WPA2 encryption work. So the communication or the encryption of WPA and WPA2 is divided into two steps. So first of all the first step is generating shared keys, and the second step is four-way handshake. So first of all I will talk about generating pre-shared keys. So what are the pre-shared keys? So the pre-shared keys are the first steps of WPA and WPA2 encryption. So you can see here that here is our user, and once our user add a passphrase, so you can see here our passphrase, and this passphrase then it passed through this function, that is PBKDF2 function, that is password based key derivation function, and once our passphrase is pass through this function, then we got a pre-shared key of 256 bit. So this was on the client side, but similarly on the access point side the same process take place. So what happen is the access point also generate the same key, pre-shared key of 256 bit, and if these two keys, that is on a client side as well as the access point side, match, then the next process take place, and that process is of encrypting the communication, and that process is called as four-way handshake. Now let's see how four-way handshake works. So you can see here that once our connection is established between the client and access point, so in this connection establishment the client and access point must have pre-shared keys on both sides. So here you can see once the connection is established, our access point will send a long random value to the client. So why our access point is sending a long random value to client? Because instead of static keys, the WPA and WPA2 uses dynamic keys in order to encrypt our session. So once our access point sends long random value to the client, and this long random value is called as A nouns, that is access point nouns, and once our client receives A nouns, then the client will send S nouns, or that is supplicant nouns, plus MIC, that is message integrity check, to the access point. And once our access point receives the S nouns, what access point will do? The access point will send a key by a key installation message or a packet with a key installation, and once the key is installed on a client side, the client will send acknowledgement, that is key acknowledgement. So this is how all the process works in the WPA and WPA2, that the first of all the client and the access point generate a pre-shared keys, and then they will do four-way handshake in order to encrypt their session. Now what we will do, we will try to sniff four-way handshake between a client and access point, then we will see that how we can find a password from that four-way handshake. Now let's see how we can crack WPA and WPA2 wireless encryption. So first of all we have to start our Kali Linux, and here you can see that my Kali Linux is up and running and I have plugged in my wireless adapter. So now let's just verify. So here you can see that I have already plugged in my wireless adapter and I have converted my wireless interface to monitor mode. Here you can see WLAN 0 mode. So we will use this interface to capture wireless handshake. Then we will apply dictionary attack over that handshake. Well, I told you earlier that what is WPA handshake? A WPA handshake is nothing but just a communication between a client and a access point at the time when client send passphrase to that access point. So what I'm going to do here is, first of all we will sniff the packets by using arrow dump ng. Let's see on which channel this access point is residing. So you can see here that I have set it up the SSID for my access point called as wireless hacking demo. So you can see here, and my access point is residing at channel 6. So let's do one thing, let's copy this BSSID and then we will sniff or capture the packet of particular this BSSID. So now let's just write here arrow dump ng. Then I'm specifying here a particular channel. So channel is 6. Then let us specify here BSSID and then interface, that is WLAN 0 mon, and then here we will save this packet in a dump file. So by adding here this argument -w, and here we will write a name called as WPA. So if I hit enter, here you will see that we are monitoring and capturing the packets of this access point called as wireless hacking, and you can see its BSSID. So now what I'm going to do is I will turn on Wi-Fi on my mobile phone, and then I will connect my mobile phone with my this wireless router, and you will see here that we will capture a WPA handshake at this point. So let me turn on Wi-Fi of my mobile phone and let me enter a passphrase. So I have entered my passphrase, and you will see here that we got a WPA handshake. So this is the first way of collecting WPA handshake. So let me just stop this packet collection.
So the main thing we want is a WPA handshake. So here you have noticed that I have added a password, or I have connected with my wireless access point. Now what else you can do is, in order to get a WP handshake of a particular access point, what you can do, you can first send a deauth packet to that access point, and as soon as access point accepts that deauth packet, the access point will send a deauthentication message to all its client, and once the client receives the authentication message, then the client sends authentication message back to the access point, and at that point we will get our WPA handshake. It's another method of getting a WPA handshake. Now let's check our dump, and here you can see that we got one file called as WPA01.cap, and this file contains our handshake. Now we will use this file in order to crack the password. Well, there is one utility in Kali Linux called as aircrackng, which we can use in order to crack wireless passwords. But before going further, so let me take you to the directory in Kali Linux which contains lot of word lists which we can use in order to crack the wireless password. So that word list directory is present inside user, USR, share, and word list. So you can see its path, it's present inside USR share, and the directory name is word list. So this directory contains lots of folders and directories and files which contains million of passwords. So you can see here all the directories name as dir, directory buster, DNS map, and nmap lst, metasploit. So there is one file called as roq.txt.gz. so you can see here. So this file contains near about 14 million passwords which we can use in order to crack wireless encryption. So here you can see that I have already extracted this file. So the way you can extract this file, by just writing here a small utility name called as gunzip followed by this file name, and if you hit enter, you will see here that we got one file called as roq.txt. Now let's see what's present inside this file. So you can see here that this file contains lots of passwords, and now let's check that how many password is present in this file by using word count utility. So I'm just writing here word count -l followed by this passphrase file, and you can see here a long value. It's near about 14 million passwords are present inside this file. So we will use this file in order to crack the password by using dictionary attack. So let's go back to our pcap dump file. So it's present here, WPA01.cap. So what I'm going to do is I'll just write here aircrackng. Then here we have to specify one argument, or we have to give one parameter called as -w, and here we have to give the location of that txt password file, and that file is present inside USR share, then word list, and that file name. And then we have to give the location or the name of this pcap file, which is WPA cap. Just hit enter and just sit freely, and it will start cracking passwords for you. So you can see here that it has started finding all the passwords, and here you can see the current passphrase. So we have to wait for a time being. Here you can see the master key, transient key, and EPOL HMAC. So you can see the number of keys that this tool has tested, and here you can see the tested rate. And this aircrackng tool will also tell us a particular time, that how much time it takes. So I'm pausing this video and I'll resume the video once we got our password. And you can see here that we got our key. So our password is RR97RDBI. So here you can see that this aircrackng utility is able to find out the password, and here you can see that the time was still left, but this key was present in this location, and you can see here its master key, its transient key, its EPOL HMAC. So this is how we can crack WPA and WPA2 passwords by using dictionary attack. So there are another attacks which we can do, like brute force attack, and we can even perform the same attack by using cow patty tool, and there are a lot of tools. So in this video we have discussed that how WPA and WPA2 handshake or encryption works, and how we can crack the WPA and WPA2 encryption by using AirCrackNG. So thanks for watching this video.